Can you tell us a little bit about the beginning of your GMAT journey and what you experienced? From what I understand, it didn't go that well.
No, it didn't go well in the beginning because I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, it's math and it's English. Like, I'm good in English and math. Okay, I'll just revise and I'll be fine, right? And then I remember when I took the test the first time, I walked into a center and I took the test, and oh my God, I went there actually super confident that I was going to do well, even though I had a really low score at that time. And then I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure it's just math and it's just English that I need to I remember when I first started with the GMAT, I don't remember how to do basic division, Marty. So I think when I did kind of my initial analysis, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do basic grammar, I'll just go back to the basics. I actually started with kids books, like kids math, and because I needed to remember all this math that I took a long time ago and all this, and again, I want to say I did not actually take English classes because I was educated in French schools. So I know grammar in French. I know, vocabulary in French. I didn't really know a lot of English stuff. So I didn't have the foundations. If you're thinking that just because you don't have, an English background that you might not do well on the GMAT, that's not true at all.
So after doing a lot of this, you ended up scoring 350 on the GMAT?
Yes, and that was my aha moment because I saw progress. For me, that was validation that it's possible and it's doable and it's going to happen, but it's just a matter of right techniques, enough time, practice. And I knew that back then because I saw the progress. I saw the 350.
Yeah, I really think you also, sometimes talk about just understanding what the test is testing. You started off, okay, this is basic English and grammar, and you're studying for a basic English and math test, and now you're not making that much progress. So at a certain point, it had to kind of click. Wait, this is a reasoning test. It's a little bit more of a game or a puzzle. So I have to go beyond studying these specific facts and rules or whatever, right?
That was definitely another aha moment for me is when I started thinking, you know what, like business schools want to know that you're a great leader and you have potential, right? And they want to know that you have attention to detail. They want to know that you can work under pressure. They want to know all this stuff. And I was like, wait, test makers are probably trying to trick me into not seeing details about the sentences, right? I'm looking at the question and I pay extreme attention to the little details. And when I started thinking that way, I'm like, you know what? If I knew what they were testing me on, like logical reasoning, critical reasoning, all these things, I would kind of try to strengthen those skills in order for me to be able to kind of look at the questions from a different perspective. It's not just math or English, it's more than that. One thing that really clicked with me, I remember at that time, the whole eliminating, right, answers to get to the right answer, to get to the correct answer. I used to look at the questions, Marty, as like, oh my God, I'm just going to read it and like try to find the right answer, right? Mm. And now, and back then, like a few years ago, I actually started looking at the questions like, I want to find a clear reason to remove you because it's going to be one big weight off my shoulders because I can move on to the next one. Mm. And it's a shift in kind of mindset of the way that you look at the questions, right? I mean, it's I used to, like I said, I used to look at the questions and be like, oh my God, this must be the right one because it sounds like it or whatever, right?
Right.
But it's not the right way to do that, right? You have to actually just look for a reason to eliminate, right? Look for a reason to eliminate, and then you're down to 2, 3, and hopefully 1. And that must be the right answer,
Yeah. I mean, so there's just another building block. So we're talking about the big picture building blocks and the little picture building blocks, right? And every time you've, found another one of these things, your score went up.
Yeah.
So now my final question is, how did it feel to see that score?
It didn't feel real. I mean, I know I was doing well because prior to that, I was doing a lot of chapter tests and I was getting 90% and above and I was getting really good results. But I don't know. I think it felt incredible. I cried, I cried. And
for real?
Oh my God. Oh, I cried. I did, I didn't believe it. And it just boosted my confidence level because remember, Marty, I don't have the greatest GPA in the world. I don't come from an engineering background. Like, I'm an older applicant. I'm considered to be, I'm 35 right now, you know? So I had all these things that just really put me down. And I just didn't really see hope why schools would kind of, you know, look at me other than, okay, yeah, I have a great story and, you know, I bring diversity to the school, right? But then academically, you know, can I prove that I can academically handle the work, right? Handle the work academically at the school. And I thought that this GMAT score was going to boost my chances. It's not only the GMAT test that you're going to be facing, it's actually business school. It's becoming a leader. It's going to these big companies out there where you're going to hold leadership positions and you're going to have to do a lot of this stuff, you know, and it always takes you back to the GMAT. And I think, and I want to say this, and I think being also a woman, right, it just made me feel a lot also more, it gave me a lot more confidence because my entire life I've always felt like I was, you know, even in my career it was always like male dominated. And you know, the GMAT, I feel in a lot of ways it's also male dominated, and I just felt like, oh my god, right? So I felt very
more.
I felt very proud of myself, very proud of myself.